Hi, I'm Kevin Eikenberry, and I'm here to help you reach your potential as a leader and a human being. Welcome to Remarkable TV and the Remarkable Leadership Podcast. If you happen to be watching on YouTube, make sure you hit the subscribe button so you don't miss any future episodes, including the others in this series. Today, we're talking about 3 ways to close your presentation strong. Are you ready? Let's get started. As I already said, this is a series. There have been a number of episodes in this series that have already happened and a number that are still to come. Make sure you hit subscribe wherever you're watching or listening so you don't miss any of the future ones, and you can go back and watch or listen to the past ones. All of them in this series about being more effective when you're presenting to others. Presentation skills, if you will. That's what we're talking about. And today we're talking about how you finish. Now, some of you may say, Kevin, I don't like doing the presentation. Well, I can't wait to get to the finish. And that's one of the reasons why people don't do the closing very effectively, right? And so before I get to 3 specific strategies, I want to remind you of a really important point, is when you're doing your closing, you want to make sure that you build it around your most desired response. Now, in an earlier episode in this series, we talked about the most desired response, but the big idea here is, what do I want my audience to do as a result of this presentation? And so whatever you do in the closing has to be connected to what you want them to do when it's over. So 3 ways that you can do that. Number 1 is to remind them of the why. Why should they have cared? Why should they care now? What are the benefits to them to taking the actions that you hope that they take? So highlight the benefits, remind them of the why, and remember, the more personal the why, the better. Not just why the company will benefit or why, certainly not why you will benefit, but why they, as the audience, will benefit. Remind them of the why. Second, summarize key points. Good presenters will typically say, hey, here's the key ideas that we had here. It's a 30-minute talk. You might have 3 or 4 big ideas. You want to just highlight those. You're not talking about them again, and you're not putting in new information. You're summarizing what you've already said in an easily digestible way for your audience to help them remember it. It's repetition. And lastly, leverage how you opened. In last week's episode, we talked about different ways that you could open. So if you opened with a question, you might ask that question again in the closing. If you opened with a story, you might remind people of the story in the closing. So those are ways that you can strategically close, but it's all got to be designed and built around your most desired response that you want from your audience. Let me close with today's remarkable reminder, which, by the way, is a close to this presentation. The closing of your presentation is more important than you think. Close in a way that leads people to act on what they heard. If you haven't heard, I have a new book coming out. It's called Flexible Leadership: Navigate Uncertainty and Lead with Confidence. And so if you'd like to lead with greater confidence, if you'd like to lead more effectively in the days that we live now, you need to copy this book. And so if you will pre-order it now, there are 3 reasons you should do that. By pre-ordering it, you guarantee the best possible price when the book actually comes out. The second thing is you'll be among the very first to get a copy, which means that you can start to take advantage of the breakthrough ideas that I share in the book to help you build your confidence, be more flexible in the way in which you lead, which will lead you to greater success. And thirdly, it helps us out. Without you needing to know any more, when books are pre-ordered, it helps us. And so I'd love you to pre-order a copy and get started as soon as the book arrives for you. Flexible Leadership. You can learn more by going to kevineikenberry.com/flexible. I hope you'll do that. And I hope you'll be back next week for another episode of Remarkable TV and the Remarkable Leadership Podcast.